Why did you come to the United States? That's the first question on the intake questionnaire for unaccompanied child migrants. The questionnaire is used in the Federal Immigration Court in New York City, where I started working as a volunteer interpreter in 2015. My task there is a simple one. I interview children, following the intake questionnaire, and then translate their stories from Spanish to English. But nothing is ever that simple. I hear words, spoken in the mouths of children, threaded in complex narratives. They are delivered with hesitance, sometimes distrust, always with fear. I have to transform them into written words, succinct sentences, and barren terms. The children's stories are always shuffled, stuttered, always shattered beyond the repair of a narrative order. The problem with trying to tell their story is that it has no beginning, no middle, and no end. When the intake interview with a child is over, I meet with lawyers to deliver and explain my transcription and occasional notes. The lawyers then analyze the child's responses, trying to come up with options for a viable defense against a child's deportation and the potential relief he or she is likely to get. The next step is to find legal representation. Once an attorney has agreed to take on a case, the real legal battle begins. If that battle is won, the child will obtain some form of immigration relief. If it is lost, they will receive a deportation order from a judge. I watch our own children sleep in the back seat of the car as we cross the George Washington Bridge into New Jersey. I glance back now and then from the co-pilot's seat at my 10-year-old stepson, visiting us from Mexico, and my 5-year-old daughter. Behind the wheel, my husband concentrates on the road ahead. It is the summer of 2014. We are waiting for our green cards to be either granted or denied, and in the meantime, we decide to go on a family road trip. We will drive from Harlem, New York, to a town in Cochise County, Arizona, near the U.S.-Mexico border. According to the slightly offensive parlance of U.S. immigration law, for the 3 years or so that we had lived in New York, we had been non-resident aliens. That's the term used to describe anyone from outside the United States, alien, whether or not they are residents. There are non-resident aliens, resident aliens, and even removable aliens that I know of. We wanted to become resident aliens, even though we knew what applying for green cards implied. The lawyers, the expenses, the many vaccinations and medical exams, the months of sustained uncertainty, the rather humiliating intermediate steps, such as having to wait for an advance parole document in order to be able to leave the country and be paroled back in, like a criminal, as well as a legal prohibition against traveling abroad without losing immigration status before being granted advance parole. Despite all that, we decided to apply. When we finally sent out our applications, a few weeks before leaving for our road trip, we started feeling strange, somewhat out of place, a little circumspect, as if throwing that envelope in the blue mailbox on our street corner had changed something in us. We joked somewhat frivolously about the possible definitions of our new, now pending migratory status. Were we pending aliens, or writers seeking status, or alien writers, or maybe pending Mexicans? I suppose deeper down, we were simply asking ourselves, perhaps for the first time, that same question I now ask children at the beginning of each intake interview. Why did you come to the United States? We didn't have a clear answer. No one ever does. But the deed was done. We had filed our applications, and while we waited for an answer, we were not allowed to leave the country. So when summer arrived, we bought maps, rented a car, packed a few basics, made playlists, and left New York.